I never imagined my life could flip upside down in a single moment, like a rug pulled from under my feet. But that's exactly what happened when I stumbled upon the truth about my husband. The man I had trusted with everything, the man I thought I knew inside and out, the man who had been living a second life, a life I wasn't a part of, a life that was as far from the reality I thought we shared as the moon was from the earth. It started slowly, just small changes, things I couldn't quite put my finger on at first. His late nights at work, the vague answers when I asked about his schedule, his sudden desire for privacy, his phone always face down, his laptop password protected. At first, I told myself it was nothing, just stress from his job, or maybe a midlife crisis. We had been married for 12 years, had 2 kids, a house in the suburbs, everything I thought we had worked so hard for. But something was different. I could feel it in my gut, my intuition, that nagging voice that we all try to ignore sometimes, was telling me that there was more to the story. One day, I was cleaning the guest room, sorting through some old boxes and things that had accumulated over the years. It was like any other weekend chore, but then I found something that would change everything. Tucked behind a stack of old files, I noticed a small, unmarked envelope. It was thick, and there was something inside that felt more like a booklet than just paper. I hesitated. The envelope looked out of place, like it didn't belong. But curiosity got the better of me. I opened it. Inside was a stack of photographs, about a dozen, maybe more. The first photo was a shot of a night scene, neon lights flashing across a dimly lit club. I squinted at it, unsure at first, but then I saw the unmistakable shape of my husband, his back to the camera, standing beside a woman who wasn't me. He was smiling, carefree, his arm around her waist. The next few photos were similar, him with different women, each in glamorous settings, in places that felt foreign and strange. There was no context, no explanation, just photos, one after another of him with these women, laughing, dancing, living a life I had no idea about. I kept flipping through the pictures, my heart racing with every new one. In one, he was holding hands with a woman in a sleek, black dress, her lips pressed to his cheek. In another, they were sitting together at a bar, their faces close, talking in what seemed like an intimate conversation. My breath caught in my chest. How long had this been going on? Why hadn't I noticed? How could I have been so blind? The last photo in the pile sent a chill down my spine. It was a picture of him standing in front of a nightclub, arms wide open, as if embracing the life he had built. But this time I didn't just see him and a woman. I saw something else, something that made my blood run cold. The logo on the nightclub sign was clearly visible, and it was a name I'd never heard before. I ran a quick search on my phone, the truth hitting me like a wave. The nightclub didn't just exist in our city. It was a chain with locations in multiple countries. I couldn't believe what I was reading. I dug deeper, following the trail of the photos. I started looking up the club's name, checking social media pages, and everything I found made my stomach churn. My husband wasn't just a guy who worked late or needed some space. He was running a nightclub, a massive operation. And what's more, he had multiple secret lovers in cities around the world, some of them at the clubs he owned, others at locations I could never have imagined. And somehow I had never known. My head was spinning. I wanted to scream, to tear the pictures apart, to erase the evidence, but I couldn't. It was like staring at the truth and watching it crush, everything I had believed in. The man I had married, the man who had promised to love me forever, had been living a double life. And he wasn't just any businessman. He was the owner of these nightclubs, a man who thrived on the excitement, the chaos, and it seemed the women. How could I not have known? How could I not have noticed that my husband was sleeping with different women in different countries, living a completely separate life? It made me sick to think about it. Every time he told me he was going on a business trip or working late, he was actually running a club, surrounded by women who were all too happy to be in his world. I sat there for hours, the photos scattered around me like a puzzle I couldn't piece together. Each image was a piece of a life I had no part in. The more I looked at them, the angrier I became. How had I been so naive? He had been coming home to me, acting like everything was fine, while all along he had been lying to my face. This wasn't just some one-night affair or a secret flirtation. This was a full-on, long-term deception, and it had shattered everything I thought I knew about him. When Nathan finally came home that night, I was sitting on the couch, holding the photos in my hands. He looked at me with that familiar smile, the one that made me feel safe, the one that made me think everything was okay. But now, that smile just made me feel sick. I didn't want to see it. I didn't want to hear his excuses. I was done with the lies. He took one look at my face and immediately knew something was wrong. He dropped his bag by the door and came over, sitting beside me. "Anna, what's going on? Why do you look like that?" I didn't say anything at first. I just stared at him. He was still the man I loved, the man I had built a life with, but I couldn't look at him without seeing the lies anymore. He opened his mouth, but I cut him off. "I know everything," I said, my voice cold. I could feel the anger bubbling inside me, but I kept it in check. I needed him to hear me, to understand the gravity of what I had discovered. I found the photos. I found everything, Nathan. The club, the women. You've been living a lie. He froze. His face drained of color as he processed my words. For a moment, I thought he might deny it, but he didn't. He didn't say anything at all. Instead, he just sat there, his eyes wide, with shock, his mouth opening and closing like he was searching for the right words. Finally, he spoke. "Anna, He paused, his voice trembling. "I never wanted you to find out like this. I never wanted you to know. Please, let me explain." I shook my head. "Explain? How do you explain this? How do you explain having a secret life? How do you explain running a nightclub, seeing multiple women, and pretending everything is fine at home? How do you explain betraying me, Nathan?" "I didn't mean for it to happen this way," he said quietly, his voice filled with regret. "I was stupid. I was selfish. I never wanted to hurt you. But I got caught up in it. I thought I could keep it separate, that I could keep you and that life apart. I was wrong. I know that now." "You thought you could keep it separate?" I repeated, incredulous. "You thought you could live two lives, deceive me, and I wouldn't notice." "I didn't want to hurt you," he repeated, his voice breaking. "I love you, Anna. I swear I love you. But I got caught up in the thrill, the excitement of it all. I'm sorry. I know I've made a mess of everything." I stared at him, my heart breaking with each word he said. He loved me. He had lied to me for months, and he thought saying, "I love you" would make it okay? I stood up from the couch, my emotions swirling in every direction. I don't know if I can forgive you, Nathan. I don't know if I can trust you again after everything you've done. "I'll do whatever it takes to fix this," he said, standing up as well. I'll end it with her. I'll stop running the club. I'll make things right. Just don't leave me." I looked at him, my heart heavy with confusion and anger. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to do. The man I loved was standing in front of me, but he wasn't the man I thought he was. "I need time," I whispered, feeling tears well up in my eyes. "I need space. I need to think. I can't make any decisions right now. But I can't keep living like this." He nodded, his eyes filled with desperation. "I understand. I'll give you all the time you need. Please don't leave me, Anna." But I didn't know if I could stay. I didn't know if I could move forward from this. I didn't know if I could ever look at him the same way again. I walked out of the room, not knowing where to go, but knowing I couldn't stay there with him. I spent the next few days in a haze, unable to focus on anything for too long. I went through the motions, eating, sleeping, taking care of the kids, but everything felt disconnected. My mind was constantly drawn back to that moment in the living room when I confronted Nathan. The shock, the anger, the heartbreak, they lingered in the corners of my mind, impossible to shake. I couldn't stop thinking about the way he had looked at me, pleading with me, begging me to stay, to give him another chance. How many times had he said, "I love you"? How many times had he promised me forever, only to betray that promise in the worst way possible? The words "I love you" felt like a lie now. I had been foolish to believe them for so long, to trust him without questioning. But even though my anger burned with every thought of him, there was a part of me, however small, that still clung to the man I had married, the man I had once loved with every fiber of my being. I didn't know how to reconcile the two versions of him, the man who had broken my heart, and the man I had built my life with. I tried to talk to Rachel about it, but every time I opened my mouth to explain how I was feeling, the words got stuck in my throat. It was as though everything I wanted to say was trapped behind a wall I couldn't break down. So I spent hours in silence, just sitting with my thoughts, staring out the window, lost in the chaos of my emotions. I couldn't escape the thoughts of him. I couldn't stop myself from wondering what was going on in his mind. Had he really meant what he said when he begged me not to leave? Was he truly sorry, or was he just trying to hold on to the life he had built with me, the life that was now falling apart? Then there was the woman, the one he had been seeing behind my back. Sophie. The thought of her made my stomach turn. What had she given him that I hadn't? What did he see in her that he didn't see in me? It wasn't just the physical attraction that stung. It was the fact that he had shared something with her that he had never shared with me. Feelings, vulnerability, affection, things I thought we had between us. The thought that he had been so emotionally connected to another woman while I was right here in the dark, eating away at myself with doubt and suspicion. It broke something inside of me. How could he have done this? I knew I had to make a decision. I couldn't live like this, caught between wanting to stay and wanting to leave. I couldn't keep torturing myself with these endless cycles of anger, confusion, and heartbreak. On the 5th day after the confrontation, I went back home. Nathan was there waiting for me as I had expected. His face was pale, and his eyes looked worn, like he hadn't slept in days. When he saw me standing in the doorway, he stood up quickly, his expression hopeful. "I'm so glad you're back," he said softly, his voice shaking. "I've been waiting for you to come back. I've been trying to think of a way to fix this, to show you how sorry I am." I didn't know what to say to him. How could I listen to his apologies when all I wanted was the man I thought I had married? I couldn't look at him without seeing the lies, without remembering everything that had come to light. He had broken my heart, and I didn't know how to fix it. "Please, Anna," he pleaded, his eyes full of desperation. "I can't stand the thought of losing you. I'll do anything to make this right. Please don't leave me." I stepped into the room, taking a deep breath before I spoke. "I don't know what I want anymore. Nathan, I don't know if I can forgive you. I don't know if I can trust you again. Everything has changed. You've shattered everything we had." He took a step toward me, but I held up my hand, signaling him to stop. "I don't need you to fix it. Right now. I don't need you to tell me that everything will be okay, because right now it doesn't feel okay. I don't know if I can ever get past what you've done." I looked at him, really looked at him, and for the first time in days I didn't see the man I had married. I saw a stranger, a man who had lied to me, a man who had built a secret life behind my back. The weight of that truth was suffocating. "I need space, Nathan," I whispered, my voice shaking. "I need time to figure out what I want. I can't make any decisions right now. I can't live like this, caught in between. I need to think about everything." "I understand," he said quietly, his voice filled with sorrow. "I'll give you all the time you need. Please, Anna, don't leave me." The desperation in his voice made my chest tighten. I didn't want to hurt him, but I couldn't keep pretending. I couldn't go back to the way things were. I needed to find a way to move forward, but I didn't know if it would be with him. "I'm not leaving," I said softly, "but I need to be alone. I need to figure this out. I need to think about me." Nathan nodded, his face crumpling as the weight of my words sank in. "I'll wait for you," he said, his voice barely a whisper. "I love you, Anna. I'll wait as long as it takes." I turned away from him, walking toward the door. I didn't know if I would come back. I didn't know if we could repair the damage. But I knew I couldn't keep living in this limbo. I couldn't stay in this relationship if it was built on lies. I needed to find out who I was without him, to figure out if I could ever trust again. As I walked out the door, my mind was spinning with the endless possibilities. Could I ever forgive him? Could I rebuild my life with him? Or would I have to walk away completely, leaving behind the life we had built together? I didn't know. But one thing was certain: I had to find out.